Good morning. We will pay attention to analysis and interpretation today. First of all, we will pay attention to current ratio and the asset test ratio. We will determine why it's very important to calculate these ratios and what the business will do with this information when it is available. If we look at the current ratio, we will determine if the business will be able to pay their current liabilities with the money that is available. The asset test ratio is to determine whether the business will be able to pay the current liabilities if the inventory is not included in the current assets. So if you take the current assets minus the inventory and then work it out with current liabilities. The reason for this is that the inventory must first be sold before cash is available to pay for the current liabilities. The following information was obtained from the accounting records of Alex Limited, and they give us the information for the current assets and the current liabilities. If we look at the current ratio for 2014, and we calculate what is the current assets to current liabilities, then in 2014 our current assets was 2508 and our current liabilities was 1377. And if we do this calculation, we see that the answer is R1.80 assets for every R1 debts. If we look at the 2015 calculation, the current assets is 2250, the current liabilities is 1080, and this calculation gives us R2.40 for every R1 that is owed. The current ratio improved in 2015 from the R1.80 to R1 in 2014 to R2.40 for every R1 debt. The business should be able to pay their current liabilities because they have more current assets than current liabilities. But we also have to go and calculate the asset test ratio to see how much inventory is included in this R2.40, because that can determine that the inventory is too high and the business will not be able to pay. In 2014, the company had R1.82 current assets for every R1 current liabilities. In 2015, they had R2.37 current assets for every R1 liability. This ratio, when we calculate it, should be compared with the ratio of competitors so that we can determine if this ratio is satisfactory, and if we see that it's not satisfactory, what steps should be taken to improve the situation. The ratio should also be compared with the ratio of the industry to determine if it's satisfactory, and steps should be taken to improve the situation. We will now calculate the asset test ratio. In 2014, we will take the total current assets and we will subtract the inventory that's available in 2014 at the end of the year, and we will take the reduced amount and compare it with our current liabilities. And what do we see now? The asset test ratio gives us 70 cents assets for every R1 that's owed. If we look at 2015 and we take the current assets, subtract the inventory that's available at the end of 2015, it will give us a ratio of 0.91 to 1. That means we've got 90 cents for every R1 that we owe. So what does this mean? We will not be able to pay our current liabilities because we have less assets available than what we owe and that we have to pay at the end of the month. So although it improved from 2014 to 2015, you will still not be able to pay for the current debts. and you will have to sell inventory very quickly to obtain cash so that you will be able to pay for your debts. In 2014, it was 72 cents, so they didn't have enough money to pay the current liabilities, and the company has very high stock levels. So that means that they have to sell some of the stock as quickly as possible so that they can prevent cash flow problems, they can increase their cash so that they will be able to pay for liabilities. Now we realize that there's a problem. They will not be able to pay. So some steps must be taken so that they obtain money quickly to be able to pay for the liabilities. So the following methods can be used. You can have a seasonal sale where you sell all the products that will not be sold in the next season. Special promotions, 2 for the price of 1. Additional advertising to promote certain products so that the public will be aware of the products that's available at special prices, because they hope that the people will come in to buy the reduced items and then also buy other products that they need at the normal prices. We can also reduce the stock on hand by purchasing less stock. So if we see that we have a lot of stock, we can stop buying stock to reduce our stock, but we must make sure that we have enough stock on hand in every different type of product that we sell, that we will meet the demand of the public. You must time your purchases so that you don't buy products in the wrong season. So if it's costumes, for instance, you will buy that it will be available before the summer. You will not buy costumes before the winter, etc. So it means that you must time your purchases, that money is not tied up in products that will take a few months before these products are sold. What is the risk of high stock levels? Inventory can be damaged because there's too much. Theft can be by staff or clients. You will have to take out additional insurance that will increase expenses because you have to pay for the additional insurance to cover the value of the inventory. It will increase rent because you will need more storage space. Inventory can become outdated, so they're not in fashion anymore and people don't want to buy it. Obsolete inventory that is damaged. Additional expenses for security to protect your inventory. And your capital is tied up in inventory that doesn't result in an increase in the profits because you are not selling this inventory quickly enough. So it means that you are actually reducing your profits. What did we learn today? It is very important to calculate the asset test ratio to ensure that the business will have enough cash available to pay for liabilities when inventory is not included in the current assets, because the inventory must be sold before the money will be available to pay for the liabilities. The inventory levels must be controlled to ensure that there's enough inventory available for the demand, but that there is not excessive inventory that will cause cash flow problems because you are not selling enough products to obtain money to pay your liabilities. And as soon as you see that there's a problem, measures should be taken to meet the demand of the inventory without having excessive inventory on hand.